In today's show, does M1 stick around when the M2 Max arrive? iPad upgrades and knockoff AirPods. Shaving for confidence. Event pre-shows. Is the iPad Air update going to be enough? Why did Apple predict massive iPhone 13 sales? Periscope cameras in iPads. Pre-charged accessories, and how long will the AirPods Pro last? I'm iCaveDave and I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you, and if you want the latest Apple leaks, news and rumours every weekday at 1300 UTC, like the video, subscribe to the channel and ring my bell. And in today's video we are exclusively answering your questions in our iCaveAnswers segment, so hashtag iCaveAnswers down in the comments if you've got a question for me to answer on a future show. Let's get on with it. John Malki asks, iCaveAnswers, will Apple keep M1 as an option when the new redesigned MacBook Air arrives, starting at $999 for the M1 model? And this is something that's been kind of floating around there quite a lot. I don't think so. I think the M1 is going to stay around. I don't think it's going to be $999. I think Apple is going to make it a cheaper option, just like with the iPhones every year. The previous year's iPhone drops at least $100 and becomes kind of the entry point level. I think the M1 model is going to drop down to maybe $899 or maybe $849. I think that's a reasonable price point for a starting point MacBook. It gives Apple a real advantage compared to what they've had in the past, because you can't get a MacBook sub $1,000 unless you've got a discount of some sort, whether that's education or you manage to find a really good deal on Amazon. I think that's what they're likely to do. I think the M2 will come in at the M1's old price point of $999, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Whether it's the M2 MacBook Air that comes in at that $999, or, as we discussed yesterday, maybe it's a MacBook. Not a MacBook Air, not a MacBook Pro, but a MacBook. That's what we don't know, but my thoughts are MacBook makes sense, and I think we might see it in March. If you want the full discussion of that topic though, check out the video right up here. Next up, James Apple asks, am I hearing you're going to upgrade to the new iPad Air from your current one? James, I would absolutely love the new iPad Air, but I also don't think it's going to make any difference to the way that I use it. I'm not doing anything super powerful with it. I'm doing a bit of Call of Duty Mobile. That's my game of choice. And I'm pretty good at it. I win most of the battle royales. Pretty good. Me, number 1 out of 100. However, it plays it absolutely fine. There's no reason for me to upgrade at this point. There's no need for me to spend extra money on that when I could be saving that for a more powerful Mac Mini, which will make a lot more difference to my life. And also, I'm going to be getting a new iPhone at the end of the year, so don't necessarily need it. And James Apple asks, will you buy the AirPods MaxiPads, AirPods Max Fakes? Lol. Don't know, you've showed me a picture of them, you've not shown me where I can buy them. If they're about $20, sure, I'll pick up a pair, we'll give them a try, see if they're actually any good. I assume they're not, but they might make some decent set decoration, like my big AirPod. Also from James Apple, are you shaving your beard on the podcast or on a live stream? Because I want to come on that show. Not sure. I mean, I can do it on screen. I don't know if it's going to make good video, but sure. It was funny when John Prosser did it, but yeah, fine. Evan Rodgers, iCaveAnswers, do you guarantee a March 8th event? Will you be willing to bet your eyebrows on it? No, because I have a real job where I have to speak to the real public, and it's all good fun if you are an Apple YouTuber and that's all you do and it becomes a meme. However, when you have to stand in the front of a theatre and welcome people as the manager of said theatre bar, probably not ideal. The beard, though, that's the one that's at risk because I get to wear a mask at work. James Apple, is the podcast coming back on the pre-show or an after-show event with Saran Bite? Now, myself and Saran, we did a podcast for about 6 episodes. It was basically at the peak of zero news, so it was really tricky to do. Saran has said that he's interested in potentially doing some pre-show, post-show stuff. So Saran, if you're watching this, let me know in the comments, buddy. Or just hit me up in the DMs and we'll set that up. I think it would be awesome to get the old crew back together for a 941 podcast. Tinkinetics asks, hashtag iCaveAnswers, hey Dave, just checking in, how's things? Life, YouTube, work, all good I hope. And thank you. This is what's great about our community, is we actually give a crap about each other. And yeah, things are good. I am tired. I am trying to get the cafe bar and everything set up, ready for the theatre. I've mentioned this a few times, that's what I do in my daytimes, and there's a lot of times where all of a sudden I get a phone call and it's like, we need you to come in, or deliveries will be coming in, or deliveries get cancelled and then I have to come in an extra day to receive them. So yeah, things are a bit crazy at the moment. That's why the video yesterday was late. But yeah, I'm good, thanks. Also from Team Kinetics, iCaveAnswers, do you think then A15 and Centre Stage are enough of an upgrade to the iPad Air, which I bought my partner fairly recently, or might we see more changes so soon after the last refresh? So bear in mind that the last refresh was a full redesign. You got new camera, we got new FaceTime camera, we got new display, new housing, A14, the works. A15 and 5G, I think, is pretty much what we're getting in the cellular versions and Centre Stage. That just makes sense. It doesn't have to be a whole thing every time, and as James was asking earlier, am I going to upgrade to this? No, because the idea of an iPad is not that you get every generation as it comes out. iPads are something that can last you quite comfortably for, 5 to 7 years. I'm not necessarily going to keep it that long because, I do want to test out different things. But I've got Centre Stage on my kids' iPads, so we played with that. I'm going to have the iPhone 14 with a 16 inside, so there's going to be enough tests out there of the SoC, so I probably won't be going up to it. And I don't think most people need to. For what most people use an iPad for, unless you're using an iPad Pro and you're doing your video editing and things like that on there, there's no real need to upgrade every time. Team Kinetics, iCaveAnswers, we knew before the official announcement that Apple planned to produce a lot of iPhone 13 units, 15% more than usual if I remember. This led to speculation about the iPhone 13 being a major upgrade. The finished product was good but not a compelling upgrade from the iPhone 12, yet I see so many iPhone 13s out in the wild in everyday life. Did Apple geniuses simply know that a lot of consumers were due to upgrade this year, or was it genuinely a compelling upgrade for smartphone users? Written on my old-fashioned iPhone 12 Pro Max. I think Apple knew that there was a lot of people that had bought the iPhone 11. 11 was a really big upgrade, I think. The 12 was still a big one. Every year they're just getting more and more and more though. And I think one of the things that's happening on the Android side is getting even more fragmented. You used to have kind of Samsung as the flagship kind of brand for Android, and I don't think they are anymore. I think it's a lot more spread out across different brands. You've got OnePlus and Oppo and Samsung and Huawei and a lot of the others that are just doing pretty good phones, and there's not one kind of big standout. Obviously Google have brought their Pixel now, and I think that's probably become more of a kind of icon of Android than Samsung was, but there's no massive buzz around any Android phones, whereas the iPhone, it just does seem to be grabbing more and more market share each year, and that might be because the old ones work for longer and people are handing down better and better phones to people. That then means that they are willing to spend more money to buy one brand new next time. I don't really know, but I think 15% more than the previous year is kind of just their growth rate at the minute, which is absolutely bonkers. Uncle Bar asks, iCaveAnswers, with the additional space available, do you think that Apple would put a Periscope camera into the iPad before they put them in the iPhone? Now here's the thing, the iPad doesn't have more space for a Periscope camera. I know it seems like it does because it's bigger kind of footprint wise, but look how much thinner it is than the iPhone. If you look at your iPhone 12, iPhone 13, which are starting to get thicker and thicker, what you actually need for a Periscope camera is enough width that you can put that thing in there. Now remember, the iPad Pro got thicker because of the mini LED display being a thicker piece of equipment. I think that it would actually be harder to put it into an iPad. Yes, you've got more length there, and you're not kind of squishing it in with batteries and all that sort of stuff, but part of the reason that the notch actually got narrower on the iPhones is because the depth of the cameras, we have a camera bump, they can't set it back in because it takes up the full depth, and the camera lenses getting bigger on the back of the iPhone meant they had to squeeze that notch a bit closer together so that it wasn't interfering internally with the camera modules. They need all the thickness that they can get. Yes, going to a Periscope camera does give them the possibility of going to a lot further focal length, so you've got more space between lenses, but you also need to have that thickness in order to be able to put it there. And the iPads just don't have that right now. Randomness R asks, iCaveAnswers, thanks for all your replies to my questions, much appreciated. I had another question regarding Apple products sitting on the shelves. Examples, AirPods Pro 1. I bought a pair on Amazon and I'm now wondering how long they've been sitting there. Does that deteriorate the battery? I also have a pair of AirPods Maxes that I haven't opened and don't need them right now. So I don't want to open them. They were made in 2019. Do you think the battery health will get worse if they just sit in the packaging sealed? No, so you might notice when you buy Apple products that they come charged to about 60 to 70%. That's kind of the sweet spot. That's the place where there's no kind of pressure on the battery. When you completely fill the battery and it sits there fully charged, that's when you've got a little bit more kind of pressure that can degrade the batteries, as I understand it. Apple has basically nailed all of this. They know what the optimal place is. Just sitting there isn't going to give it any dramas. The charge level will probably drop a little bit, so it might have been charged to 70 and you get it out the box a couple of years later at 60%. That's pretty good going. However, it's charge cycles that degrades the battery more than anything else. So yeah, you're absolutely fine. That's why they charge them to that level, and yeah, shouldn't be a problem at all. Also, if you've got AirPods Max that you don't need right now, I'm more than willing to take them off your hands. We accept donations. And Randomness R asks, iCaveAnswers, I got a pair of AirPods Pros in October. How long do you think they will last? And is it bad keeping them in the case at all times? I have a pair of 2nd gen AirPods that I use daily and use the Pros only for 1 to 2 hours every other day. Will they last 3 years? Yeah, absolutely. I know there's a lot of people that talk about the fact that the batteries in these things are not user replaceable. There are companies out there, I think PodSwap is one, that will replace the batteries, or basically take yours and send you back some that they've already refurbished so that it's quicker. But yeah, you're not going to have any problems. I had my AirPods 2 for a solid 3 years. I had literally no issues battery-wise. I put them through the laundry. They are not waterproof, but they came out working fine, apart from a slightly weird microphone on one of them. And I've used them every day, all day pretty much, for the past 2 to 3 years. And absolutely no issues. I've never actually had them tell me that I need to recharge the individual earbuds, because using them for more than 4 hours straight is uncommon, and most of the time I didn't even recharge the case more than about twice a week. So yeah, I don't think you're going to have any problems with that at all. I've really never encountered battery issues with these, but if anyone else has, let us know down in the comments, because they are small batteries. They do get used a lot, so I guess there could be issues, but I just haven't encountered them at any point. Apple typically engineers their things for the batteries to last as long as the life of the product is likely to be. And I think 3 years is absolutely reasonable. So that's it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to the Patreons over here. Everyone's awesome. Just wanted to say thank you all for being here. Love you all.